2025 has been one of the strangest years for illustrators that I can remember. So much panic going around. It's also been a big change for me personally because I quit my job as an agent after 10 years. I'll tell you why I quit a little bit later on. I've learned more about illustration this year when it's been quiet and the industry seems fragile than I ever did when things were booming. So in this video, I'll share the biggest lessons I've learned about the illustration industry, about clients, and about myself, I suppose. I first noticed it was getting quiet back in about March, April 2024, and I figured it was just a return to the mean after the post-COVID boom. But it was also combined with the start of AI hype. So people were experimenting with Midjourney and DALL-E to create images. There's been a threat of recession hanging over our heads for a while too. It's been a perfect storm of negative factors that all seem to have been piling on to illustration, animation, and the rest of the creative industries too, as if it wasn't hard enough already. It got worse going into 2025, shrinking budgets, more competition, and even more AI hype. Some very popular illustrators went from being booked solid to twiddling their thumbs and not knowing where they'd get their next job. Others are barely noticed and they've been just as busy as always. I think probably editorial illustrators have struggled a lot in the last couple of years. That really just dropped off. And if you're an artist with a clear niche expertise, you might have been okay. Apart from that, it's quite hard to see a pattern. Some artists you think would be busy haven't been, and others who you think would probably be struggling have been doing just fine. When marketing budgets get cut, and illustration isn't a priority for a lot of businesses anyway, clients just haven't been hiring as much. But when they do hire, do you know who those art directors will call? It'll be the people who they have good relationships with, who they know well and they like to work with, and who they want to support. The artists who have taken the time to build and nurture relationships with their clients and who keep in touch are appreciated by their clients. If you only work on one and done projects and you never follow up or check in, you just fall to the bottom of the list. It's not because you did anything wrong and it's nothing personal. You just get forgotten. Going the extra mile with clients still matters. Respect and relationships still matter. If you've been trying to start your illustration career this year, I'm guessing it's been very difficult. Being a beginner sucks at the moment because there's less work around and more experienced illustrators have been forced to take on lower level projects just to pay their bills, and that's fair enough. But those projects might have previously gone to newer artists. The budgets are a little lower, but they're good experience for a new artist. Well, they've been snapped up already, so you don't get a shot. And plenty of other beginner-friendly projects from price-sensitive clients have probably gone to AI. It's harder now, but I don't think it's impossible. What I've really come to value this year is human connection, the people in my life and the relationships that I have. I've worked from home for 5 years, so I'm no stranger to being on my own, but I also quit my job, so I don't have those daily chats and little Slack conversations with my colleagues that I used to, and I really miss them. If I ever had a problem, or I just needed a second opinion, or maybe I was just feeling a little bit down in the dumps, I could chat with Kim or Katie or Sally, and we could figure things out. Now, I don't have that easy access to talk shop with my co-workers. I already tend to live in my own head a lot of the time, so it's easy to spiral when things feel a little bit difficult. I have a newfound appreciation for what freelancers working alone have to deal with. Loneliness, uncertainty, and occasional panic. This year, more than ever, when work is slow and things feel uncertain, having human connection is so valuable. I'm an introvert, so my natural state is to retreat from socializing. But if I've had a day in my own head, worrying about the future, often a simple phone call to a friend can just snap me out of it. I'm very lucky to have a few people in my life who are very wise and grounded and patient and tolerant of my eccentricities. You may know illustrator Tristan Henry Wilson. We became friends after he emailed me to ask for some advice on his portfolio, probably about 4 years ago, and we really hit it off. We've never met in real life, but we've made a real friendship online. We talk about books, mindset, art, content creation, relationships, and he's an unfailing source of positivity in my life. If you don't already follow Tristan on Instagram, you should. He's great on there. I'll link to him in the description. None of my old friends work in the creative industries, so I don't really have the opportunity to talk to them about work all that much. But when my friend Henry invites me over for Sunday dinner or a poker night or to go bowling, we can just talk about anything else. And that is just as important because it means I can actually switch off from work, which is very hard for me. I also have a weekly call with some of the artists in my online community. So I talk to Sal and Laszlo and Jessica and Ellie every Monday just to review our wins and our struggles from the previous week and to set some intentions for the week to come. It's so valuable just to have that weekly check-in to look forward to. If you work in a studio with other artists and you have a big friendship group, that's awesome. I'm jealous, frankly. But I know many of you, like me, have a more modest social circle and maybe you work alone. Or maybe your friends are spread out across the country or the world even. Please put any embarrassment aside and make the effort to call people or set up a regular chat to either talk about work or to not talk about work. I'm a 38-year-old man, and in the past it has been very difficult for me to say I need to talk or I need help. But damn, I'm so glad I got over it because I don't know what I would do if I couldn't do that. Good friends and good co-workers are so important for your mental health, but they've all got commitments, jobs, kids, and worries of their own. But make the effort to speak to someone and have a meaningful conversation once a week. It is really, really important. Back to illustration, I saw an article at the start of last year, maybe the year before. It was illustration trends for 2024. I think it was for Creative Block, the blog. One of the trends predicted was a movement towards analog mediums as a sort of a backlash to the rise of AI-generated images. And at the time I thought, I get it, but that kind of sounds like wishful thinking. Don't get me wrong, I love traditional media. I have paintings on my walls and drawings and screen prints, that kind of thing. There's a timeless quality to them, and they're consistently popular. Artists may have wanted to return to those analog methods, but it doesn't mean that clients want that in a commercial sense any more than they did a few years ago. That may actually come to be true when people finally get exhausted by seeing endless AI images, but I'm still not sure that we're there yet. All styles are valid, but it's true that some styles are less valuable now because AI can knock them out easily and cheaply and quickly. Some styles get oversaturated and the market naturally shifts away from them. The flat vector styles that were popular 10 years ago are so common now, it's almost impossible to stand out unless you do something really unique with it. My point is, in a roundabout way, that skill still wins. Whatever style you work in, whether it's something AI can do or whether there are 1,000 other artists doing it, if you are really, really good at that style or technique and you can add a unique spin on it, you can still do really well. If you produce what can be easily replicated or it doesn't stand out, that's where you'll struggle. If you do work in an analog style or you have pretty rare or unusual skills, like oil painting, well, that really helps too, because there's not many people who can do what you can do as a commercial illustrator. Someone like Elizabeth Waku, for example, is a traditional painter. She can also replicate that style digitally for quicker turnaround commercial projects. She's a proper, skilled, trained artist, and she has a rare talent. She'll be fine. I have no doubt about that. Because skill like that, the kind that you can actually feel in the work, will always have value. Yeah, AI can produce a decent looking traditional oil painted look, but there's no joy or satisfaction in that. The value isn't just in the result, the end piece, it's in the skill and the process and the human intention behind it. I also want to talk about consistency. It is very hard to be consistent. If you're at the start of your career, you've got to work for a long time with very little reward before you catch a break. And if you're inconsistent, it'll take even longer. Maybe one week you finish 3 illustrations in a week, and then you don't work on anything new for 3 weeks. Or you post 5 times a day on Instagram for a whole week, and then nothing the week after that. Or maybe you send 50 emails to clients in a day, and then nothing for the next 2 months. These are very normal cycles. When you don't get the response you want, you're reluctant to try again. Any of the things you think you should be doing regularly that will actually help you move forward are only valuable if you can keep a regular, consistent rhythm with them. One new illustration a week for a year is incredible progress, and depending on how complex your style is, it might be completely manageable. Sending one email a day sounds tiny, but that's 300 plus emails a year. Nowhere is this more obvious than on social media. The algorithm literally rewards consistency. If you're not consistent, you'll never get the reach that you want. But even if it didn't reward it, you benefit from consistency. You improve faster, you get into a rhythm, and you don't need to wait for motivation to strike. So don't start with extreme goals. Set a daily goal that is easy and manageable. If you go over, that's great, but not at the expense of doing it consistently and daily. Think in daily habits rather than occasional sprints, because the illustrators who get ahead aren't always the ones that are most talented. They're the ones who keep showing up regularly. I've just passed 2 years of making a video on YouTube every single week. I couldn't have done that by brute force alone. Yes, some weeks it's been a real struggle to get anything done, but I've made manageable routines for myself where I write a little bit every day, then I batch record however many scripts I've got ready at the same time, then editing can kind of fit in whenever I've got a couple of hours spare. I used to leave everything to the last minute, so it would be rushed and I'd miss weeks, but now I've got a routine and a system. I don't miss a week. It's easy now, and that's really valuable. If you like what I make here on the channel, please subscribe. That really helps me stay motivated to keep working on it. Even if you are consistent, it doesn't mean that every year is going to be better than the last one. Creative careers, and probably any unconventional career path, moves in cycles, and that's completely normal. That's really obvious to me now, since I've quit the job that I had for 10 years. I'm in a very different part of my career cycle now. I'm not making much money. I don't have much security. I've traded the stress of a busy agency for the stress of starting something of my own. I didn't quit because I didn't like the work. I just realized that I'd stopped growing. There was nowhere for me to go and not much to challenge me. It's been terrifying at times, going from something familiar and stable to complete uncertainty. And I've seen illustrators go from turning work away 1 month to panicking the next because things went quiet, and then it bounces back again. It's enormously stressful. And if you've been struggling this year, well, at least you can take some comfort in knowing that it can only get better for the next cycle. And these cycles happen through the year on a micro level, I suppose, because there's more demand at certain points in the year for certain events. It's seasonal. Clients fluctuate throughout the year depending on how they work, and their budgets are refreshed maybe quarterly or maybe annually. And your level of focus and energy fluctuates through the year too. A lot of us start in January with piles of enthusiasm and energy, and by March it's starting to fade a bit, if not before. It's completely normal. When you're feeling motivated, make the most of it. And when you're not, enjoy the freedom of being a freelancer and take a couple of days off. And on a more macro level, we get shifts in the economy, companies being bought and sold and changing up their marketing strategy, and styles going in and out of fashion. With or without AI in the mix, there are always ups and downs. Just don't quit when you're in a quiet period. Make sure you survive until the next cycle. So yeah, 2025 has been a weird one for me, for a lot of illustrators, and a hell of a lot of other people too. If you're in the 20% of people who made it to the end of this video, let me know in the comments. I've been through a lot of doubts and imagining worst case scenarios. I've been frustrated, miserable, excited too, and all the other feelings. But I think I've learned more this year than in any of the easy years. I learned that consistency matters, so does taking breaks. Building your skills is never a bad idea, and that relationships and kindness matter a lot. And maybe most importantly, I've learned that uncertainty never really goes away. You just get better at dealing with it. If you're in one of those uncertain times now, check out this video next for 5 ways I'm dealing with creative uncertainty. See you next time.